discovery of a forgotten fleet, steel, and carbonized bone, drifted past the Intrepid's view screens, the only epitaph to the countless lives snuffed out in a long-ago war of annihilation. The fleet's very existence had been unknown to the Galactic Federation, an uncharted backwater never worth a second glance until now. Captain Orcs, a seasoned commander, dispatched the away team to the surface with a knot in his stomach. He needed answers. If humanity could assemble a force of this magnitude in secret once, it could happen again, and this time, the galaxy might not survive. Captain Orcs stalked onto the bridge of the Intrepid, his claws clicking on the polished deck plates. The data from the away team streamed across the main view screen. Lieutenant Kavok, hunched over a holographic display, manipulated it with her tentacles. "What have we found?" Orcs rumbled. It's unbelievable, sir," Fox said, tapping a command to expand a schematic. Orcs leaned in, his eyes widening as he absorbed the details. The design was unmistakably human in origin, smooth aerodynamic hulls, oversized fusion engines, but the technology was centuries ahead of anything the Federation had on record for humanity. "This fleet predates the formation of the Galactic Federation itself," Fox explained, awe in her voice. "If these readings are correct, this human civilization had achieved interstellar travel long before we thought they'd even discovered electricity." Orcs gripped the edge of the console, his mind racing. How could the humans have kept this hidden? Why had they never revealed themselves? He started sifting through the data himself, desperate for answers. Fragmentary log entries and garbled transmissions painted a chilling picture. The humans had established this secret colony to safeguard their most advanced technologies. Ships, weapons, things the Federation had never even conceived of. They wanted to keep it out of the wrong hands. But they weren't alone out here. A new image appeared, a nightmare made manifest. Bulbous, organic-looking ships, pulsing with sickly bioluminescence. Kreox warships. Orcs felt his blood run cold. Every child grew up hearing horror stories of the Kreox, ruthless conquerors, planet killers, a blight upon the galaxy that had been driven back at great cost centuries ago. They had found the humans, sought to crush them, to steal their secrets for themselves. The logs took on a frantic tone. The humans were outmatched but fought like furies. Sprawling void battles played out in flickering holographics, swarms of Kreox bioships clashing with the silver human fleet. Losses mounted on both sides. The humans were pushed back slowly but inexorably. Their colony was burning, but they would not surrender, would not let their technology be taken. Orcs found the final entry, tagged with the fleet commander's ID. His face appeared, pale and haggard, dark rings under his eyes. "No choice," the human said, his voice distorted by static. "The Kreox cannot be allowed to have what we've built here. This is our only option." He straightened his uniform and faced the camera directly. "To those who find this message, remember us. Remember what we sacrificed to keep the galaxy safe. And know that humanity will never bow to tyranny, even unto our own destruction." The log ended. Orcs stood frozen, staring at the now blank screen. Behind him, the bridge had fallen deathly silent. In the fragmented records, he saw what must have happened next. The human fleet, mortally wounded but defiant to the end, had unleashed an unholy firestorm of self-destruction. Blazing wrecks slammed into the Kreox ships, nuclear fire blossoming in silent space. If the humans could not have this world, no one would. The Kreox invasion force was annihilated, and so the human secret had died with them. Until now. Orcs slowly turned to face his crew, seeing his own shock and disbelief mirrored in their expressions. This changed everything. The history, the balance of power. If the Galactic Federation learned that humanity had possessed this kind of technology and the terrifying resolve to use it, it would shatter the fragile peace they'd built. Paranoia and suspicion would reign. And if the humans ever rose again to reclaim their lost power, Orcs made a decision. "Comms," he barked. "Get me a secure line to Fleet Command. Now, the Federation's reaction. The communication console blinked with an urgent message from the Galactic Federation. Zorx tapped the screen, his brow furrowing as he read the contents. His discovery of the human fleet's ruins had not stayed secret for long. The news had spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of controversy and speculation across the galaxy. Are they saying it's a hoax? Lieutenant Kafak asked, peering over Zorx's shoulder. Zorx shook his head. Worse. They think we fabricated the evidence. Angry messages flooded in from a dozen worlds, each more accusatory than the last. The Zigrant claimed Zorx was a warmonger trying to shatter the fragile peace for his own gain. The Orcs delegation demanded an independent investigation, insinuating that the Intrepid's crew had planted the ruins themselves. Zorx slammed his fist on the console, the screen flickering. Fools, he growled. Why would we fake something like this? They're scared, Fox said softly. If the humans were capable of this back then, what could they do now? It changes the balance of power. Zorx knew she was right. For generations, the Galactic Federation had maintained an uneasy truce between species that had once been bitter enemies. The revelation of humanity's ancient strength threatened to upend that delicate equilibrium. Fear made people irrational. They lashed out, assigning blame, seeing conspiracies in every shadow. But Zorx had no time for their paranoia. He needed to understand the truth behind the human fleet and their ancient foe, the Creocs. That name still sent a shiver down his spine. He turned to his science officer, Felix. What do we know about the Creocs? The lanky Zarian pulled up a series of historical records on his datapad. Not much, Captain. They were a major power in the galaxy centuries ago, but they vanished abruptly. The records from that era are fragmentary at best. Zorx studied the flickering images. Creocs warships, their hideous organic hulls pulsing with malevolent energy, hung in space like bloated corpses. Worlds burned beneath their onslaught, whole civilizations swallowed by their relentless advance. What happened to them? Zorx asked. A power that vast doesn't just disappear. Felix shrugged. There are many theories. Some say they were defeated by an unknown adversary. Others believe they retreated to the unexplored reaches of space. Frankly, most people were just glad to see them go. But Zorx wasn't satisfied. The Creocs and the humans had plashed out here, fighting a desperate war over the fate of the galaxy. He needed to know how that war had ended and what it meant for the present. His musings were interrupted by a chime from the communications console. He glanced at the screen and froze. The message was text only, routed through a dozen encrypted relays, impossible to trace. I have information about the Creocs and the human fleet. Come to the coordinates below. Come alone. Tell no one. Coordinates followed, leading into a remote, uninhabited system far from the nearest trade routes. Zorx felt a prickle of unease. This could be a trap, some scheme by his enemies to discredit him further. But it was also the only lead he had, and he needed answers. For the sake of the Galactic Federation, he had to pursue this, no matter the risk. He took a deep breath and erased the message from the log. Then he turned to his executive officer, Falk. Plot a course for the Zeta reticle system and ready my personal shuttle. I'm going on a little trip. Falk's eyes widened. Captain, is that wise? If something happens to you, then you will take command of the Intrepid and continue the mission, Zorx said firmly. The truth about humanity's past is out there, Falk. I intend to find it. He strode out of the bridge, his mind racing. The lost human fleet, the vanished Creocs, the shocking revelation of humanity's power, they were all connected somehow. And he would unravel that mystery, even if it cost him everything. A mysterious meeting. Zorx's personal shuttle dropped out of warp, the inky void of space replacing the swirling blue tunnel of the warp conduit. The small craft knifed toward the coordinates he'd been given, a remote, lifeless chunk of rock spinning slowly against the distant starfield. The shuttle settled onto the barren plain with a whine of thrusters. Zorx's hand rested on the grip of his sidearm as he strode down the ramp, flanked by two of his most trusted security officers, Kurwu and Vargos. Their eyes scanned the forbidding landscape, twitchy fingers near weapon triggers. Movement caught Zorx's eye. A group of figures emerged from the shadows of a towering rock formation. They were heavily armed, a motley assortment of alien races clad in battered armor, bristling with an arsenal of blasters, pulse rifles, and vibroblades. Zorx's team tensed, ready for a fight. The leader of the group stepped forward, a grizzled Zarian with a scar that bisected one of his three eyes. He held his hands up, empty and open. "Captain Zorx," he called, his voice a raspy croak. "We mean you no harm. We are here to exchange information." Zorx's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The Zarian chuckled. "Let's just say we're concerned citizens of the galaxy. We share a common interest in the truth." Zorx studied the group. They didn't look like spies or assassins, more like a ragtag band of mercenaries and outlaws, the kind who thrived on the fringes of civilized space. He nodded slowly and relaxed his stance, though his hand stayed close to his sidearm. "All right," he said. "Talk." The Zarian motioned for Zorx to follow him to a small portable shelter they'd set up. Inside, holographic projectors hummed to life, displaying detailed scans and star charts. The Zarian tapped a control, and the image shifted to show a vast, organic-looking structure drifting in deep space. It was unmistakably Creox in origin, the same hideous bioluminescent architecture Zorx had seen in the historical records. "This," the Zarian said, "is a Creox hive ship. We found it adrift in a desolate system on the edge of known space. The crew was long dead, but the data we recovered told a fascinating story." He activated another control, and a series of symbols and images scrolled across the holographic display. The Creox were engaged in a massive campaign of conquest when they encountered the human fleet. They saw humanity as a threat, a potential rival that needed to be crushed, but the humans fought back with unprecedented ferocity and cunning. They inflicted heavy losses on the Creox, forcing them to reconsider their strategy. Zorx leaned in, captivated by the unfolding tale. "So what happened?" The Zarian's expression darkened. The Creox decided to retreat and regroup. They planned to launch a new offensive once they'd rebuilt their strength. But something went wrong. Their queen, the central intelligence of their hive mind, was destroyed in a desperate battle. Without her, the Creox lost their cohesion and direction. Their empire collapsed, their fleets scattered to the stars. Zorx absorbed the information, his mind racing. The humans had not only fought off the Creox, but had been instrumental in their downfall. This revelation could change everything. It explained the ferocity of humanity's resistance and their willingness to sacrifice everything to prevent the Creox from gaining their technology. The Zarian stepped closer. "Captain, you must understand the implications of this. The Creox are still out there, fragmented and leaderless, but they could rise again. And the humans, if they ever return to their former glory, the galaxy will be a very different place." Zorx nodded slowly. "Thank you for this information. It will be invaluable." The Zarian smiled, a hint of relief in his eyes. "Good luck, Captain. And be careful. There are those who would kill to keep these secrets buried." As Zorx and his team returned to their shuttle, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The truth about the Creox and humanity's ancient war was more important than ever. He would ensure that the Galactic Federation understood the stakes and prepared for the challenges ahead. The future of the galaxy depended on it. Revelation and preparation. Back aboard the Intrepid, Zorx assembled his senior staff in the briefing room. The gravity of what he had learned weighed heavily on him. The officers exchanged worried glances as they took their seats. Foch, Felix, and the rest of the team had seen the captain face many crises, but never with such a grim demeanor. "Ladies and gentlemen," Zorx began, activating the holographic display. The image of the Creox hive ship filled the room. "What you're about to see and hear must not leave this room." The information we have is sensitive and potentially destabilizing. He recounted the meeting with the mysterious informants, detailing the Creox' history and humanity's pivotal role in their downfall. The room was silent as Zorks explained the implications, the possibility of the Creox regrouping, and the potential resurgence of human power. Fok was the first to break the silence. "Captain, if the Creox are truly capable of rising again, we need to alert the Galactic Federation immediately." Zorks shook his head. The Federation is already in turmoil over the discovery of the human fleet. Adding the threat of the Creox could incite panic or worse, a preemptive strike against humanity. "We need to be careful how we handle this." Vilix leaned forward. "We need to verify this information independently. If we can find more evidence of the Creox's activities or locate other remnants of the human fleet, we can present a solid case to the Federation." Zorks nodded. "Agreed. We'll need to dispatch reconnaissance teams to known Creox sites and unexplored regions where human activity might have occurred. This will be a delicate operation. If word gets out, it could spark an arms race." The team set to work, developing a plan to gather more intelligence. They would use unmarked ships and trusted operatives to avoid drawing attention. Zorks knew the clock was ticking. The Creox could be rebuilding even now, and humanity's hidden strength was a wild card in an already volatile galaxy. As the meeting adjourned, Zorks pulled Fok aside. "I want you to lead the first recon mission," he said. "You're the best we have, and I trust you to handle this discreetly." Fok straightened, a glint of determination in her eyes. "I'll find the truth, Captain, whatever it takes." Part 5. Unveiling the Truth. Fok and her team set out in a sleek, unmarked vessel, skirting the edges of known space. Their first target was an abandoned Creox outpost on a barren moon. The ruins were eerily silent, the twisted remains of organic structures slowly being reclaimed by the harsh environment. Fok's team spread out, scanning for any traces of recent activity. "Captain, over here," one of her officers called. Fok hurried over, her heart pounding. They had found a hidden chamber deep within the outpost. The walls were lined with stasis pods, each containing a dormant Creox warrior. Fok's eyes widened. This was a hibernation chamber. The Creox were not extinct. They were merely sleeping, waiting for the right moment to awaken. She recorded everything, ensuring they had irrefutable evidence. They couldn't risk tampering with the chamber and waking the Creox prematurely. Fok felt a chill as she realized just how close the galaxy had come to a renewed Creox invasion. Next, Fok's team ventured to a remote asteroid field, rumored to be a graveyard of ancient ships. They found the wreckage of a human battleship, its hull pockmarked with battle scars. Fok's engineers managed to access the ship's data core, extracting logs and schematics. The technology was indeed centuries ahead of anything the Federation had seen. Back on the Intrepid, Zorks and his team analyzed the data. The human ship's logs confirmed the brutal battles with the Creox and detailed advanced technologies that could revolutionize modern warfare. They also found coordinates for other hidden human colonies, potential treasure troves of lost knowledge. Zorks knew they had enough evidence to make their case to the Federation. He prepared a secure transmission, summarizing their findings and stressing the urgency of the situation. The Creox hibernation chamber alone was enough to justify immediate action. The potential resurgence of humanity only added to the stakes. Galactic Council deliberation. The Galactic Federation's council chamber was a vast, imposing structure filled with representatives from countless species. Zork stood at the center, flanked by Kvok and Velix. The council members murmured amongst themselves as the evidence was presented, holograms displaying the Creox hibernation chamber, the advanced human technologies, and the historical logs. The president of the council, a stately Altranian with shimmering scales, called for silence. "Captain Zorks, your findings are indeed disturbing. The threat of the Creox alone warrants immediate attention, but this revelation about humanity's past capabilities, it complicates matters." Zurx took a deep breath. Madam President, the galaxy stands at a crossroads. We can either face these threats united, leveraging the strengths of all our member species, or we can let fear and suspicion tear us apart. The Creocs are a clear and present danger. We must prepare for their potential resurgence. As for humanity, we should see them as allies, not threats. Their ingenuity and resilience could be crucial in the battles to come. The Hidden Fortress. With the Federation's decision to unite against the Creocs and seek cooperation with humanity, Zorx's mission took on new dimensions. His next goal was to establish contact with the hidden human colonies hinted at in the recovered logs. These enclaves, if they still existed, could hold key technologies and strategic advantages against the Creocs' threat. Zorx assembled a team of trusted officers, including Kvok and Velix, to embark on this crucial mission. They plotted a course to the coordinates found in the data core, a region of space shrouded in mystery and legends. The journey was long and fraught with danger. Navigating through treacherous asteroid fields and skirting the edges of hostile territories tested the crew's resolve. But Zorx's leadership and the crew's unwavering determination kept them focused. Finally, they arrived at the designated coordinates. Before them lay a massive asteroid, far larger than any they had encountered. It was riddled with tunnels and covered with a faint energy shield, almost imperceptible against the backdrop of space. Scans indicate an artificial structure within the asteroid, reported Velix, his eyes glued to the console. This could be the hidden human colony we've been searching for. Zorx gave the order to approach cautiously. As they neared the asteroid, a series of automated defenses activated. Laser turrets and missile launchers emerged from hidden compartments, targeting the Intrepid. Raise shields and prepare for evasive maneuvers, Zorx commanded. The Intrepid's crew scrambled to their stations, expertly dodging the barrage of fire. Kvok worked frantically at her console, attempting to hack into the asteroid's defense systems. "Got it," she exclaimed as the defenses powered down. "I've accessed their control network. We should be clear to proceed." The Intrepid slipped through the energy shield and into a massive cavern within the asteroid. Illuminated by artificial lights, the interior revealed a sprawling city, a marvel of human engineering. Sleek buildings, advanced infrastructure, and bustling activity indicated a thriving society. A communication signal crackled through the ship's speakers. "Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves immediately." Zorx stepped forward, his voice calm and authoritative. "This is Captain Zorx of the Federation's starship Intrepid. We come in peace and seek to establish contact with the descendants of the ancient human fleet." There was a pause before the voice responded, tinged with curiosity and suspicion. "Stand by for verification."